Have you ever noticed that there are people who seem to have been born with a star on their forehead? Things happen for that person. Opportunity appears, the door opens, the invitation arrives, and you stay there, looking from the outside, thinking, when will it be my turn? I'm going to tell you something now that perhaps no one has ever told you with such clarity. Your turn has already arrived, a long time ago. The problem is that you have not yet sat on the throne that is yours. And as long as you do not sit, no one will call you to occupy any place. This video will show you exactly why the doors of your life seem locked, what is blocking your personal authority, and more importantly, what you need to do, starting today, to unlock everything. Stay until the end, because what I am going to reveal to you in the last minutes can completely change the way you see yourself. Before continuing, answer me one thing with sincerity. Have you ever had that feeling that you should be further ahead in life, that there is something great inside you, but for some reason it cannot come out? You look at your trajectory, and you know you have already faced too much to be where you are. You have already gone through situations that many people would not endure. You have already held a heavy bar. And even so, it seems that recognition does not come, that things do not flow, that you are always pushing a stone uphill. If you identified yourself, this video was made for you, literally. Because what happens to most people who carry this feeling is not a lack of capacity. It is not a lack of merit. It is not a lack of intelligence, effort, or faith. It is something much more subtle and much more powerful than all of that. It is a disconnection from one's own authority, and I will explain to you what this means in a way that will make a lot of sense for your real life, for your day-to-day, for your routine from Monday to Friday here in Brazil. But before, I need to warn you of something. This video is not another one of those contents that you watch, get emotional for 5 minutes, and then forget. If you take seriously what I am going to tell you here, your life will not be the same. It is not an exaggeration. It is a logical consequence of what will happen when you understand what is at stake. Imagine the following scene. You're in a work meeting, you have a good idea. You know that idea solves the problem, but at the moment of speaking you freeze, or you speak too low, or you wait for someone to say it first. Then another person says practically the same thing, and everyone applauds. You are left with that bitter taste in your mouth. It is not anger at the other. It is anger at yourself for having silenced yourself again. Or then think of that situation in which you needed to demand something from someone. A payment, respect, a limit. And at the time, you swallowed it. You smiled yellow. You let it pass. And later, you kept ruminating on that for days, weeks, sometimes months, repeating in your head what you should have said. This is not shyness, it is not politeness. This is abdication of the throne, and it has serious consequences in your entire life. Let us understand this in a deeper way. There is a concept in psychology called locus of control. Researchers like Julian Rotter studied this back in the 60s, and science has confirmed it several times since then. People with an internal locus of control believe they are agents of their own life, that their choices, attitudes, and behaviors determine their results. People with an external locus of control believe that life happens to them, that destiny, luck, others, the government, the economy, all of this is stronger than any individual action. And now pay attention to this information. Research shows that people with an internal locus of control have more health, more professional satisfaction, better relationships, and greater emotional resilience. It is not a coincidence, it is cause and effect. When you assume that you are responsible for your life, you act differently, you speak differently, you decide differently, and the people around you feel it. They respond in a different way as well. It is as if there were an invisible field around you. When you are aligned with your authority, this field communicates something. People perceive it. Opportunities perceive it. Life perceives it. You must have already met someone like this. A person who enters a room and, before opening their mouth, everyone already pays attention. It is not noise. It is not arrogance. It is presence. It is what the ancients called personal magnetism. And it is not a birth gift. It is a consequence of internal alignment. In Brazil, we live in one of the most complex social environments in the world. We deal with absurd inequality, with suffocating bureaucracy, with a system that often does not favor those who are honest and hard-working. And this creates a very dangerous collective narrative, that it is no use trying, that the system is larger than the individual, that to win here, either you were born in a golden cradle or you need a lot of luck. And look, I am not going to lie to you saying that these difficulties do not exist. They exist, they are real. But what I want to show you is that your posture before these difficulties defines much more than the difficulties themselves. Because I know people who were born in the periphery and built empires, and I know people who were born with everything and lost everything. The difference was not in the circumstances, it was in the internal authority. Now, if this concept works through science, through spirituality, it goes even deeper. In various spiritual traditions, there is the idea that every human being came to the world with a mission, with a specific energy, with a purpose. I'm not talking about something ethereal and vague. I'm talking about something you feel in your body, that discomfort that does not go away, that voice that insists you should be doing something different, that silent calling that wakes you up at dawn. In the Christian tradition, the Bible says in Jeremiah chapter 1 verse 5, "Before I formed thee in the belly I knew thee, and before thou camest forth out of the womb I sanctified thee, and I ordained thee a prophet unto the nations." This verse is not only for a biblical prophet, it is for any person who feels they came to the world with something to deliver. And if you are watching this video, that person is you. In the Oriental tradition, there is the concept of Dharma, which is your sacred path, your function in the fabric of existence. In African culture, which is a deep root of Brazil, the elders taught that each person is born with an axe, a vital force that needs to be honored and cultivated. When you ignore your axe, when you swallow your calling, this energy does not disappear. It turns against you. It becomes anxiety, insomnia, unexplained illnesses, a background sadness that no medicine completely resolves, because the body knows. The body always knows when you are living below your truth. But here comes the crucial point that almost no one talks about. Being chosen is not a free pass. Being chosen is an invitation, and every invitation needs an answer. The problem is that most people receive the invitation and keep it in their pocket. They do not answer, they do not assume, they do not occupy. They keep waiting for someone to come and say, "You may go, now it is your turn." But this external sign almost never comes, because the sign was already given from the beginning, from before you were born. And do you know what happens when the chosen one does not assume the throne? The throne does not remain empty. Someone occupies it, someone less prepared, less sensitive, less committed. And then you watch from afar and feel that deep frustration, that knot in the chest that has no name. It does have a name. It is called neglected purpose. If this touched you, leave a comment down here now. Write just one word. I felt it. I want to know how many people who are watching this video go through this, and if this content is making sense to you, take the opportunity and subscribe to the channel, because we bring this type of reflection every week. Activate the little bell as well, so as not to miss anything. Now let us go to the part that is perhaps the most difficult to hear, but which is the most liberating. The reasons why you have not yet assumed your throne. The first reason is the programming you received. In Brazil, especially for those who grew up in a simple family, there is a very strong culture of humility as erasure. Since childhood, you heard things like, "Do not think much of yourself." "Who do you think you are? This is not for people like us." "Stay in your corner." "Do not draw attention." These phrases were not said with malice. In most cases, they were said out of love, out of protection. Your parents, your grandparents, wanted to protect you from disappointment, from humiliation, from the world. But the side effect was devastating. You internalized that occupying space is arrogance, that shining is vanity, that wanting more is greed. And now, every time an opportunity appears, that internal voice repeats the programming. "Careful. Do not expose yourself. This is not for you." This programming is so deep that it operates on automatic. You do not even notice. You have already refused good things in life without understanding the reason. You have already sabotaged projects, relationships, chances, and later you kept wondering why you did that. The answer is simple. The internal programming was stronger than the conscious desire. Neuroscience confirms this. Studies in neuroplasticity show that repeated patterns of thought create increasingly strong neural pathways. The more you repeat a thought, the easier it becomes automatic. If for 30, 40, 50 years you repeated internally that you are not deserving, this neural path became a highway. And changing route requires conscious effort, repetition, and mainly, decision. The second reason is the fear of judgment. For those who have passed 35 years, there is an enormous social weight. You already have a constructed identity. The people around you already know you in one way: your friends, your family, your colleagues. And when you begin to change, when you begin to speak differently, to position yourself to want more, these people find it strange, and many times they react badly. Not because they are bad, but because your change disturbs their comfort zone. When you grow, you function as a mirror, and mirrors do not always show what people want to see. How many times have you already heard something like, "Are you thinking much of yourself now? After you started with these things, you changed. I miss when you were simpler." These phrases are fishhooks. They are traps disguised as affection. And if you bite the bait, you go back to the place from before, smaller, erased, safe, but unhappy. This is particularly strong in Brazilian culture. We value the group very much, the family, the friends, the community, and this is beautiful, but it has a shadow side. There is a silent pressure so that no one rises too much, so that no one stands out. It is the famous crab syndrome. When a crab tries to leave the bucket, the others pull it back. It is not malice, it is instinct, and it works the same among people. When someone from the group begins to grow, the group pulls them back. Not because they hate you, but because your growth exposes their stagnation. And this disturbs them too much. If you are going through this now, if you feel you are in a tug-of-war between who you are and who people want you to be, I need you to understand one thing. This tension is a sign that you are on the right path. It is not a sign of error. It is a sign of evolution. The pains of growth are not punishment, they are confirmation. The third reason, and perhaps the most invisible, is that you confused spirituality with passivity. Many people who seek personal development and spirituality fall into a dangerous trap. The trap of thinking that being spiritual is being passive, that it is accepting everything without questioning, that it is waiting for the universe to solve it, that it is just meditating, praying, and waiting. And look, prayer and meditation are powerful. They are practices that transform. But without action, they become an escape. Spirituality without attitude becomes a comfort zone with incense. God, the universe, the source, whatever you call it, does not work for those who are standing still. It works with those who are in motion. There is a phrase that summarizes this perfectly. Do your part, and God will do his. But your part comes first. Always. Now pay attention, because here begins the turn of this video. The solution part, I showed you the symptoms, I showed you the causes. Now I will show you how to sit on your throne for real. And it is not theory. It is practice. It is applicable starting now. The first key is what I call an irrevocable decision. There is a moment in the life of every person who changes level in which a decision happens. It is not a wish. It is not a will. It is a decision that crosses the entire body. A decision that burns the bridges. That does not admit return. It is when you say to yourself, truly in the depths of the soul, it is over. I will no longer live like this. From now on, I am another person. And this decision does not need to be grandiose. It does not need to have an audience. It can happen in the silence of your room at dawn while everyone sleeps. But when it happens, something changes at the level of energy. Something rearranges itself, and from then on, things begin to move in a different way. Quantum physics has an interesting concept here. The observer influences the result. When you change the way you observe yourself, the results around you begin to change. It is not magic, it is physics. When you position yourself as a protagonist, when you decide that you are the authority in your own life, reality responds. The second key is to reformulate your internal narrative. Remember the programming I spoke of. Those phrases that you internalized. They need to be replaced, and this does not happen overnight, but it happens if you are consistent. Every day before starting your activities, speak to yourself out loud, not mentally, out loud, because when you speak, you activate different areas of the brain. You create new neural pathways. Say things like, I have authority over my life. I deserve to occupy space. My voice matters. I was made for something great, and I will no longer run away from it. In the beginning, it will seem strange. It will seem false. It will seem ridiculous, but continue, because repetition is the mother of mastery. Your brain does not distinguish between real experience and vivid imagination. Studies in visualization show that athletes who train mentally activate the same brain areas as those who train physically. If your mind can imprison you with negative narratives, it can also liberate you with new narratives. The third key is to begin to act before feeling ready. This is the most difficult and the most transformative. Most people wait to feel confidence to act, but it is the opposite. Confidence comes after the action. You act, reap a result, and this generates confidence, which generates more action, which generates more result. It is a virtuous cycle, but someone needs to take the first step, and this first step is always uncomfortable. Think of the following. If you want to change careers, you do not need to resign tomorrow, but you can begin to study today. If you want to undertake a business, you do not need to invest everything you have, but you can create the business plan this week. If you want to improve a relationship, you do not need to make a speech, but you can have that conversation you have been postponing for months. If you want to take care of your health, you do not need to enroll in the most expensive gym in the city, but you can walk 30 minutes tomorrow morning. I will give you a real example that happens in Brazil every day. A woman of 45 years, married, 2 children, works all day, takes care of the house, takes care of everyone. And deep down, she always dreamed of opening a candy business. She makes cakes that everyone praises. She has already received dozens of orders from friends. But she never took it seriously, because the programming says that this is just a hobby, that business is risky, that she does not understand companies. Then time passes. The children grow. The body weighs. And that dream keeps getting further and further away. Not because it was impossible, but because she never took the first step. Now imagine if, instead of waiting for the perfect hour, she created an Instagram page today, posted a photo of the cake tomorrow, delivered 5 orders next week. In 6 months, this woman could have a loyal clientele. In 2 years, with her own kitchen. In 5, with a brand. It is not fantasy. It is what happens when someone decides to sit on the throne and stop waiting for permission. The throne does not demand that you do everything at once. It demands that you take the next step, one step at a time, but without stopping. The fourth key is to surround yourself with people who recognize your crown. There is a phrase that says, "You are the average of the 5 people with whom you most associate." In Brazil, we have much of this culture of group, of family, of community, and this is beautiful. But it can also be a prison if the people around you are not growing along with you. I am not saying to abandon anyone. I am saying to be honest about who pulls you up and who pulls you down, who celebrates your victories and who diminishes your dreams, who reminds you of who you can be, and who traps you in who you were. Sometimes assuming the throne means having difficult conversations. It means establishing limits. It means saying no to people you love. And this hurts. But the pain of betraying oneself is infinitely greater than the pain of displeasing someone. The fifth key is sacred consistency. This is perhaps the one that most separates those who truly ascend from those who stay in the eternal cycle of motivation and frustration. Everyone has a good day. Everyone can wake up early on a Monday. Everyone can discipline themselves for a week. But maintaining this for months, for years, with or without visible results, with or without applause, with or without recognition, that is rare. And it is exactly this that life tests. In Brazil, we have a very strong culture of excited beginnings and quick abandonment. In January, everyone enters the gym. In March, it is empty. Every beginning of the year has a promise of change. In February, everything went back to normal. And it is not because people are weak. It is because most do not understand that consistency is the true currency of the universe. It is not talent that wins. It is not intelligence. It is not luck. It is disciplined persistence. It is doing that which needs to be done even when you do not want to, even when no one is watching, even when the reward seems too distant. There is a famous study in psychology called the marshmallow test. Children who manage to resist immediate temptation and wait for a larger reward had significantly better results throughout life. More professional success, better relationships, more health. The capacity to delay immediate gratification in the name of something larger is one of the most powerful skills a human being can develop, and it is exactly what sacred consistency demands of you. Because assuming the throne is not an event, it is a process. It is every day waking up and choosing again, choosing to position yourself, choosing to respect yourself, choosing to act according to who you decided to be and not with who the world told you that you were. It is like a plant. It does not grow on the day you plant the seed. It grows little by little, in the dark, in the silence, without anyone seeing. But when it breaks the earth, everyone notices. And it is exactly this that will happen to you. When you stop hiding, when you stop diminishing yourself, when you decide that your light is not arrogance, it is responsibility, something changes around you. The right people begin to appear. The right doors begin to open. Not because the world changed, but because you changed, and the world merely responds to the frequency you emit. I want to tell you something that will illustrate all of this. There is a metaphor I always use. Imagine a king who lost his memory. He is on the street, begging for alms, dressed in rags. He does not know who he is. People pass by and ignore him. Sometimes they even step on him. He sleeps on the ground, goes hungry, accepts scraps. And the saddest thing is that he does not even question this life, because he forgot that another exists. But one day someone who recognizes him approaches and says, "Majesty, your throne is waiting for you." And at that moment, something lights up inside him. It is not new information, it is a memory. He was always king. He never ceased to be. He had only forgotten. And see that from the moment he remembers, everything changes. He does not need to win a crown, it is already his. He does not need to conquer a kingdom. The kingdom already exists. The only thing he needs to do is go back and sit. Is it simple? Yes. But simple does not mean easy, because between the point where he is and his throne, there is a path. And this path requires courage, renunciation, and, above all, faith. Faith in that which he feels, even when the whole world says the opposite. You are this king. You are this queen. Your story of struggle, of pain, of overcoming was not for nothing. It was not punishment. It was training. Each difficulty you faced prepared you for this moment. Each tear you shed watered the earth where your purpose is planted. Each sleepless night, each bill you barely managed to pay, each time you thought of giving up and did not give up, all of that was forging your armor. And now, the only thing missing is for you to remember who you are and act accordingly. And if you think it is too late, listen to me. In Brazil, life expectancy is around 76 years. If you are 40, you have 36 more years ahead. If you are 50, you have 26 more. If you are 60, you have 16 more. Do you know what can be built in 16 years? Everything. Entire companies were raised in less time. Careers were reinvented. Lives were completely transformed. Time has not run out. What can run out is the excuse. Now I'm going to ask you one thing, and I want you to take this seriously. Before sleeping today, take a paper and a pen. Write at the top, "I am the chosen one." And underneath, write 3 things that you have been postponing out of fear, out of insecurity, out of thinking you do not deserve it. 3 things that the true you, the one who sits on the throne, would do without hesitation. And tomorrow, do one of them. Just one. Small as it may be. But do it. Because the throne is not a physical place. It is a posture, it is a decision. It is a frequency, and every time you act according to who you truly are, you are sitting on that throne. Every time you honor your voice, your talent, your intuition, you are assuming the crown. And the doors that seemed locked begin to open not because someone unlocked them from the outside, but because you finally had the authority to push them. I know this video was intense. I know it touched places that perhaps you were not expecting. But it was necessary, because there is a difference between watching a video and being transformed by a video. And I believe that this one here can be a watershed for you. If you arrived here, this already proves one thing: you are different. Most people give up before the end. You did not give up. And this same energy that kept you here is the energy that will keep you firm when things get difficult out there. So here is my final message for you. You are not here by chance. This video did not appear in your feed by coincidence. There is something larger operating in your life at this moment. A reorganization, a calling, an awakening. And the only thing that stands between you and the life you know is yours is the decision to assume it. Not tomorrow, not Monday. Now. The throne is empty. The crown is waiting. The doors are ready to open. The only question that remains is, will you sit or will you continue watching from afar while another person occupies your place? I know your answer. You know your answer. Now go there and do it. If this video marked you, send it to someone who needs to hear this. Share it with that person who lives diminishing themselves, who has enormous potential but does not see it. Sometimes a video changes a life. Leave your like, subscribe to the channel, activate the little bell, and tell me in the comments, what is the first thing you are going to do differently starting today? I read all the comments, and I want to know of your decision. We will see each other in the next video. And remember, the chosen one is not the one who waits to be called. The chosen one is the one who stands up and assumes.